So this is my cousin James Earl, and we just talked with his son Chuck, and he told us a little bit about him. But I want to hear from you some of the things that you've done in your life, um, and what you do right now.
Okay. Well, actually, I think I was very lucky and very blessed, considering everything. Life has its ups and downs. I think I was very blessed. Um, I'm going to go back to early years. I think I was blessed. My parents had trouble, so I was blessed to be with my grandparents a good deal of the time, and they were a good couple to help, even though you maybe don't appreciate it till many years later. Because Noble Casey was actually, even in Cincinnati, a big city like this, I went to apply for one job when I was a college sophomore, electronics company. And I don't know, somehow they said, "You're Noble Casey's grandson?" I said, "Yes." They said, "You got the job." We talked to all his employers; they love him, and they talk about
Noble
how he
was
got
my
things
grandfather.
accomplished.
My grandfather. So our mothers were sisters. Okay.
So anyway, I think that helped. And then I did ROTC. I got to be a lieutenant in the Army. No, nothing really dramatic happened.
You
but
flew planes, didn't you? Or you were a
actually,
pilot?
I got a pilot's license
Okay.
later. But
Okay.
I happen to be, I don't know if the word is fortunate or unfortunate, to be at the biggest battle in Vietnam, the Tet Offensive. I hope I get the dates right. I believe it was winter, because the Chinese New Year, usually February and March. Winter 1967. My dates could be off a little bit, but something close to that. When it was Chinese New Year, Year of the Rat. And I got to witness America winning it, because we had a lot of firepower winning it, but our press distorting it, so it turned out to be a loss. And the communists, we now know, we're going to make a deal, but when they saw the Western press calling their defeat a victory, because all you got to do is hold on, they'll eventually leave. So that kind of added to my realization that the media and much of the establishment can't be trusted. But I got to work for Sears headquarters. Didn't do much there. Got to go to a small religious college in East Texas, and got to be on the faculty. And then they closed it. Financial crisis. University of Texas took me in, and eventually, through a bunch of hooks and crooks, I got to be a business professor, and I taught business. And this kind of adds up to some of the stuff I want to do. But that business college, that religious college, made me a ministerial assistant. Later I got ordained. But also, students would ask me, because our college is into Bible prophecy, and analyzing the world toward a pinpoint future that we think is described. So as a business professor, one of my introductory lectures was the danger of communism and radical socialism to business. And students would occasionally ask me, even some faculty, "Well, why are we discussing this in a business class?" I said, well, the greatest threat to business is communism. I'm going to simplify what I would say, but something like this. Normally, America was the greatest economy in the world. Actually, you can go back to about right after the Civil War, when that was declining. America went on a growing streak. By 1885, it took the world a little while to fully appreciate it. We were the number one economy in the world. It's about only 100 years after the new Constitution. I said that's because of private enterprise. Actually, this is an interesting sideline I learned. The South was far behind the North in entrepreneurial growth because of slavery. It actually made the white people lazier. I know you're going to say that, but it did. And of course, some black people owned slaves too. It didn't help them either. But the main point I want to make is, but once slavery was ended, and they got that all behind them, and there were problems, but you always have problems. 1871, America went on a growth. And the reason capitalism worked in America was freedom. That we were the first country with freedom of religion, a whole bunch of other freedoms, assembly, press, you know the whole bit. Right to bear arms, you can protect yourself, and the government had to fear you, because the government should fear the people, not the people fear the government. I'm not talking about criminals, but I mean in a general sense. So America had stuff that the European countries never had. So with all that success, America, actually the list of innovations goes back to television, the refrigerator, the submarine, machine guns. Well, there are a few things that the Europeans got, but pretty much internet, cell phone, you name
And
it,
a lot of
almost
that was-
anything you name it came from America.
And a lot of that was invented in Dayton, Ohio.
That's right. Dayton was a major manufacturing hub.
Right, right.
I actually forgot about it. We went up there anyway to visit Bucky's. It's near there. And I mentioned to them how it was an industrial hub at one
It
time.
was the number one place at one time because the typewriter was invented there. The Wright brothers airplane, because they had a bicycle shop, and that's how they invented the airplane. Paul Laurence Dunbar, some other people. I'm gonna go up there and do a little tour of Dayton as well and add that to this video. But
Yeah. And
go ahead.
while this is not Black History Month, but black people had a part in that industrial growth and entrepreneurship as well, and some of the great innovations like, what was it, blood plasma, the red blood cell? I can't remember them all, but
Charles Drew.
you could
That's
find
Dayton,
them. So,
Ohio.
which is that's Dayton, Ohio too.
Yeah.
Major impact on medical history. Matter of fact, most of the medical technology, most of the drugs were invented here, even though we have to pay more than other countries, I guess, until the recent administration.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of it. And I said the reason that happened is because people are free to try and shoot for the moon. Like you could even argue the case of Elon Musk, literally shoot for the moon.
And he does.
And if anybody, he's the first one to put tourists who actually orbited the Earth for several days. First time in several. Now they have to pay a big price to do that.
Yeah.
But it's private, no government involved. If either you profit or you don't, don't waste a lot of government money.
Mm-hmm.
If they ever build a big space station on the moon and or go all the way to Mars, you almost know it's going to be Elon Musk, SpaceX, not some government bureaucracy. The governments may work with and cooperate with them. But my only point was, I said the greatest threat to success is socialism and communism. You want the freedom to try your business out. So when I, and as time goes on, not that I'm anything special, we just kind of worked out the way. In time, you kind of move up, and all of a sudden, even though it's a integrated church, but mostly white, but integrated church, you find yourself getting to the top, or close to the top, and you're coordinating meetings, people asking you things, and putting you on television. And I didn't push it; it just kind of happened organically. If that
You
makes
have a
sense.
television show? Or you've been on television?
Well, we have a show called Line Upon Line. It's on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and a couple other places. And I'd have to, I don't do the technical stuff. People
Gotcha.
do it for us, so I can't give you all the gruesome details. And we've been doing it for a number of years. It's slowly been growing, but getting bigger.
Mm-hmm. So
And,
you're kind of a big deal, huh?
Well, I got to be careful not to
You're
say.
kind of a big deal.
I got to be careful not to say that because that would be untrue. Most of our programs, if we reach 400 people watching it, that's a good deal. Or maybe 800 or 900. We had, this is the odd one. I can't figure out why. We had one short that got like 34,000. And about 8,000 were in the Philippines. I still don't understand why. Most of them, it's a couple thousand, couple hundred.
Mm-hmm.
Some really bomb, don't do that well.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to realize they're kitten videos. They get 20,000 on a regular basis, so you can't get too carried away with yourself, right?
Yeah, right.
So, as far as education goes, I was just lucky. I lucked up and decided when I was at the college, they gave us a little job, and I said, well, in summer when everything's off, I had enough money for my Sears stuff and Natalie's teacher stuff. I said, because she was also teaching at Upshur County, Texas. I said, why, it's summertime, why spend time on the job? So we went and worked on a master's degree, and I just did the paperwork at the University of Texas, and I said, if and when I ever get an opportunity to get a PhD, I want to get ready. So I took the IQ test and all the paperwork and all that stuff. The odd thing was, got the master's. All of a sudden, one day, they said, we're closing the college. It was like 3 or 4 weeks before summer. And many of the faculty were panicking. It was a financial disaster for them. And I went to the University of Texas. I said, hey, you're the kind of person we need. I guess that's affirmative action. You know, you did well in all the stuff that you had to do well in and interviews. And you come here, a few weeks, we'll make you an assistant, I forgot what they call this, assistant teacher. There's a name for it, but I can't think of it right off the top of my head. Bought our first house in Austin, Texas, enjoyed it. And I just kind of lucked up and everything worked out for me, got the PhD, and it's like God was opening doors.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You just kind of do a little something to point yourself that direction, and God opens it up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my background.
Okay, okay. Very good. Thank you for that.
And I wasn't a hero in Vietnam. They shouldn't say that anything, but I was just there.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell your family members or fans or anybody else that might see this video about you?
I don't know. What do you think they might be interested in hearing?
I have no idea. You know, when we were growing up, you were always the older cousin. I stayed with your mom when I went to Florida, and you know, didn't really, because you were a lot older than me, so we didn't, you know, we were the little cousin, you were the big cousin, and so then as adults, we just kind of lost touch and didn't see each other until maybe there's a reunion, and there's always, you know, people around, and we just never got to talk about what you really did or anything like that. So I appreciate you taking the time and sharing that with me.
Now, this is how lucky I was. My next door neighbor, when we were teaching at the college, was the PR person for the college.
Oh, wow.
So she gave me a lot of good publicity, put me on some brochures. There's this nice black professor doing whatever. I thought, well, I didn't even ask her, but see, and she's still there, and her and some other neighbors are really helpful to me. They're a little younger than I am, of course, that helps. And they even shovel our snow off our slanted driveway. Anyway, that's just a blessing. I think God blessed me that I didn't deserve. God just blessed you sometimes. You get blessings you don't deserve.
Yeah, you're a good person then.
You know, all that. You get some blessings you don't deserve. You know.
Okay.
And for those who knew me when I was younger, I was not the model child. I let my grandparents down more than once, and also all those years we spent in Texas and other places, I kind of didn't spend enough time with the family. We come back to Cincinnati maybe once every so often, and all of a sudden there were cousins I didn't know well. But I kind of regret not being as involved as I could have been, should have been. You know how life kind of pulls you up and you get caught up in the maelstrom of activities, and so I wish I'd been in Cincinnati more.
But you had a family to raise, and you know, probably the job kept you, or you didn't take the time to come to reunions and things like that.
One thing I did do, when I was looking for jobs, when I was getting out of the University of Texas, there were different schools were offering me positions. One was Austin P. I looked at the map. I said, well, that's only, I think on highway, it's Clarksville, Tennessee. Depending on how you go down Nashville, it's 65 and 75. It wasn't too far from Cincinnati. Instead of getting I had offers in Miami, University of Miami, way down there. You see what I mean? Or way in West Texas. I said, let me go up closer to Cincinnati, and I got the job, and so I was kind of moving this closer, but it didn't quite get close enough. But anyway.
Well, I'm glad you've been bringing your family around the last few years, and we're getting to know them as well.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you
the
for
grandkids, and just so, for whatever it's worth, we could have done this like we did, was it 3 or 4 years ago? We could have done it in Cape Girardeau. We had a good time, but my kids Chuck and Dave said, no, let's go to Cincinnati and meet more of our cousins.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. And they're here. And back with friends.
Yeah.
Boyfriends, girlfriends. I love
Oh yeah,
it.
the boyfriends. Matter of fact, Chuck took his first big old love. He brought here to Bert's house. He stayed at Bert's house. That's another story. Bert will tell you about that. But many years ago. Many years ago. Was that about 30 years ago? 25? Whatever it was. Time flies when you're having fun.
Having fun. All right. Well, thank you, and we'll continue on with more family members, more Casey family members to come.
Well, thank you.
All right.